Hello, Congresswoman. Welcome back to Sunday Brunch. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always good to be here with you.
Thank you. Well, as always, it's a busy week in Washington. Lots happened, and we wanted to invite you on this week because you serve on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and we're in a moment of global tensions escalating. And can you just break down a bit for our audience the latest in Washington and what's happening right now with the conflict in Iran, and what concerns you most about that?
Well, it is a war that we did not authorize, so that's important to remind folks. And it's also important to remind people that the only government entity that can authorize the United States going to war is Congress. So this week we had a vote on a war powers resolution that would reaffirm that Congress is the only body that can declare war. And unfortunately, that resolution failed. 212 members voted for it. So it does show you that the country is divided. And this president does not have a unified country saying go into this war. It's also really important for folks to know that we never had discussions about why we were doing this. So Congress never had any briefings before. There were no hearings before where we were given intelligence to justify this conflict, this war. And I think that's really important because we are using taxpayer dollars and we are sending American men and women overseas to fight in a war, potentially sacrificing their lives. So I think if those two things are going to happen, and those are big things, then we should have evidence that we're able to share with the American people to justify why we would sacrifice dollars and lives for a war.
No, thank you for that. And I know, this issue hits personally for you, hits personally for all of us. I had a chance to see you early in the morning on CNN, and you talked about your nephew graduating from the Marines and, not being able to justify having a rationale for what's happening, to someone like your nephew. Can you just talk a bit about your personal connection and how that shapes your approach and how things are shaking out on Capitol Hill right now?
Yeah, I remember when I had dinner with him and he talked about joining the Marines. And he was so excited about the training that he was in and what he was learning and why he was doing it, right? To be able to see the world, to get a good education, that was really important to him. And then he said, hey, I'm graduating. I'm graduating this week. That's so exciting. And then we go to war. And I'm thinking, wow, if he graduates and then he gets his paper saying that he has to go into this, and then he calls me up and says, hey, Auntie, you're in Congress. So tell me again why we're doing this, why I'm being sent here. I wouldn't have any answers to those questions that would sit right with me or with him or his mother or his mother. And 6 American lives have already been lost, have already been sacrificed. And we have a president who said, oh, we won't have any troops on the ground. Now we might have troops on the ground. Oh, it's going to take 4 weeks. Oh, we don't know how long it's going to take. Oh, it was about regime change. Oh, I don't really care if they have a democracy. Oh, lives are going to get lost. Yeah, it's just going to happen. This cavalier attitude when you're dealing with people's lives, people's sons, people's nephews, the American people deserve more, you know?
No, absolutely. And I know people have lots of concerns about that. We're seeing, we're in this place of scattered media. People are looking for information, looking for truth. We're seeing that there are Americans stranded over there that they can't get back. What can we expect to happen next? Like, what is the
Mm.
next step of this?
That's a question. I don't even really know the answer to that. What I can tell you, though, I can tell you a few things. I can tell you that we've been told from Republicans that they don't plan to hold hearings on Iran for a long time. We've been told that the information we're going to get is going to come from a classified briefing. People are not under oath then. It's not information that can be shared. They don't have to be transparent with the American people. We have not been given any information on how much this is going to cost. There is a cost tracker out there that says it could cost us $1 billion a day. So people should know that this administration is spending money on bombs and munitions instead of giving you your health care subsidies. What else should we know? We should know that no one has seen the intelligence director, Tulsi Gabbard. This is the person who has intelligence, who has information on why we should be doing the things that we are doing, right? The things that are making us unsafe and what we can do to keep ourselves safe. I think all of those are very important bits of information when you're trying to hold your country accountable about what they're doing with your money and your sons and daughters' lives.
No, absolutely. And thank you for shedding light on that. I do want to shift focus a little bit. There's some major headlines made this week. We're all looking like, wow, look at this hearing. When in the House Judiciary Hearing Committee, you asked Homeland, she still is, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem about potential conflicts of interest involving her staffer, Corey Lewandowski. That has been framed, some have framed it as controversial. Obviously, many of us feel that it was needed to ask that question. Can you talk a bit about that hearing and what happened and like walking the line of asking tough questions, but also making sure that we're holding our government leaders accountable?
So I'm just going to say this because I'm talking to higher heights. Black women always are the ones that kind of step into it and do the work that no one else really wants to do. Real talk. And the other real talk is, and this was in, the articles in the newspapers. This is something that everyone was talking about and people know, but nobody wanted to say. So why don't you want to say? Because at the crux of the issue is you have a person who is the head of the Department of Homeland Security. There are 260,000 people that work under the Homeland Security Department. And they deserve a leader who is credible, who is exercising clear and sound judgment, who is taking accountabilities for their decisions. Why? Because you have cities that are still trying to get their FEMA money. How come they're not? Who's making the decision about if these cities are getting their money or not? Why? Because you have a department that spent $220 million on an ad campaign, basically profiling the director of Homeland Security. It hasn't netted anything that's keeping Americans safer. Why? Because when we're having our health care cut, we see that this person has also purchased a $70 million luxury jet, supposedly using this for deportations. But I have never seen a photo of a deportee drinking a martini and watching a TV in a luxury jet. In my mind, these are examples of waste, fraud, and abuse, and a disrespect towards the American people. My question is about holding somebody accountable. My question was about the use of sound judgment. My question was about national security and conflicts of interest. And I want to know that a leader that I'm entrusting my security with and my dollars with is doing everything they can to not have any conflicts of interest mess with their judgment. So it's a real question, an uncomfortable question, maybe even an offensive question, but a simple question, a clear question, and one that speaks to the heart of the issues that we are seeing, the catastrophes, okay, the failures, not just the issues, the catastrophes and failures that we were seeing coming out of this Department of Homeland Security.
And no, thank you so much. Sometimes we look at this stuff and we're like, is this really happening? So no, thank you. The political theater of it all, that's actually reality. So we're happy to have you in place to ask those questions. And then, obviously through some social media posts, we see that there will be a replacement at the end of the month in Senator Mullen. Do we have any thoughts about what to expect there? Doesn't seem to be a real vetting process of who just got next. So that just what it's going to be.
So first I'll say that Sister Girl might have perjured herself, at least in her Senate hearing. So now there's talk about bringing her back and next steps on that because she said some things that didn't quite, the math wasn't mathing with regards to her responses. So that's the one. The second is, who got next? This Senator Mullen, who has no law enforcement experience, no military experience, no experience with crisis management. Word on the street is Trump likes looking at him on the TV and thinks he's charismatic, so okay. But what we know for sure is we need somebody who is going to come before us and answer the questions that we are asking on behalf of our constituents. And I want to remind you that Kristi Noem, that was the first time that Kristi Noem had showed up in front of us in House Judiciary Committee, okay? That is unacceptable. So girlfriend should have known that we were going to come with the receipts and we were going to be unhappy. So I hope that Mullen takes a cue and says, well, I have to have a different kind of relationship with these people who are responsible for appropriating funds. I have to have a different relationship with these people who are taking their oversight responsibilities seriously. So we're going to see what's happening. We're going to see what's going to happen with him. I don't know this man. I know he wanted to tussle with somebody in a Senate hearing. Yeah. You're a wild boy.
No, thank you for shedding light on that. We're so excited to have you here on Sunday Brunch. I'm going to shift topics again. I want to pack it all in a short time. We know that Friday we picked to rest a legend, Jesse Jackson Sr. And I saw your post, which really resonated with me on Instagram about you growing up in Chicago and sitting down to watch his convention speech and what that meant to you. I was somewhere in Clearwater, Florida around that time. My father sat me down and I watched that speech. And then one of the few times I saw my father ever cry in life. And I was like, what are we crying about? I was probably like 7 or 8 and trying to understand it all. But I know that I recently watched that speech and it had a profound impact on me and probably why I do what I do now. And so we really thank him. And I just want to hear more about your reflections about Reverend Jackson.
He's an icon and a legend, and he was before his time, you know, and to think about the courage that it took for a black man to know that he would not ever become president, but to have the courage to run and talk about the issues that he knew and still knows that everyone else is talking about and wanting some daylight on. It was amazing. You come from Chicago, and so you know about Operation Push and the Rainbow Coalition, and you grow up kind of, he's your hometown hero, and then your grandmother says, tonight at 8 o'clock, you're going to sit down in front of this TV and you're going to listen to this man. You're going to listen to this man share some truth and shine light on who we are as a people, as our struggle. Shine light on our struggle and remind us that we are unified as the United States of America, and we can find a way to work together, live together, prosper together, dream together, fight together, protect this country together. That was what it was about. And she did cry. And I was like, Nana, like crying is a bad thing. And she was like, oh no, child, these are tears of glory and joy that this man is sharing his goodness and his hope with us. And so, Nana, is this really going to happen? Can he become president? Oh no, child, he will not. But that's not why we're watching. We are watching to be part of this moment because it is historic. And I will forever be grateful. I will forever be grateful to Jesse Jackson for what he's done. Not just for us, not just for black people here, but across the world. I have traveled the world because I'm on foreign affairs, and I have met with Afro-descendants who have cried, talking about how Jesse Jackson came to their community, their organization, in their country and helped them in their movement. He is a blessing. He is a blessing, and it is right that we celebrate him.
Thank you for that beautiful reflection. And before we let you go, I will tell you that Sunday Brunch audience, Higher Heights, we love watching you on Instagram. Thank you for being a truth teller. Thank you for telling how it is. I mean, I go to you for everything. Like, what are your thoughts on State of the Union or BAFTA or whatever you're talking about for the day? So thank you. And we have at the end of the show a video of the week. You are often our video of the week. We're like, you help us frame things. So we appreciate that. Can you just talk to us and leave us with what is concerning you most? What is happening next in Washington? What are the things that our audience should be looking at in the coming weeks?
I hope everyone starts keeping their literal receipts. I don't know about y'all, but I don't really have a lot of cash on me. Everything is with the card, but we got to do better. Me too, because the shits is getting more expensive. The gas is going up. The cost of groceries are going up. Jobs are going down. 92,000 jobs lost, right? And we have to hold this administration accountable, because at the end of the day, why is it costing us more when we're feeling like we're getting less? And how do we stay unified in that message of accountability and not to get distracted? Because, you know, folks are trying to divide us, and they're also trying to suppress our vote, right? And suppress our hunger for justice by turning us against one another, even within the black community. So I'm hoping that we will save our receipts and we will stay focused on the thing that matters. And there's some bands. It's that money, because that's about safety and security and wealth building, right? And future building. And lean into that for each and every election that comes your way and each and every candidate that comes your way.
Thank you so much for that final thought. As always, we enjoy having you at Sunday Brunch, Congresswoman. I'm going to send things back to Glenda. Thank you.